Project adriamuse is a cross-border project of the Cross-Border Cooperation Programme IPA Adriatic 2007-2013, co-financed by the European Union. Diversity, cultural wealth, knowledge and experience as the heritage of partner regions of the adriamuse project are an excellent platform for creating an added value in the cultural tourist offer of the Adriatic region. A unique blue thread will be woven into enriching museum life beyond museum walls and exchange of museum programs of project partners. On the joint adriamuse project voyage, all the partners strive for a new concept of cultural tourism with museum heritage as the focal point. The project includes 11 partners from 5 countries on either side of the Adriatic Sea. Province of Rimini, lead partner. Institute for Artistic, Cultural and Natural Heritage, IBC, of the Emilia-Romagna region. Veneto region. RUAV, University of Venice. Province of Pesaro and Urbino. Province of Campobasso. Scupa Company from Italy. National Museum of Montenegro. Municipality of Shkodra, Albania. Business Service Center of Government of Zenica Doboj Canton from Bosnia and Herzegovina and Istria County, Croatia. Province of Rimini. Magnificent cultural, artistic heritage and spectacular events.
Let your left hand know what your right hand's doing. Anytime you do, there should be trouble brewing.
IBC, Institute for Artistic, Cultural and Natural Heritage of the Emilia-Romagna region, unique institute in Italy. Veneto region, small geographical universe open to the world. province of Pesaro and Urbino. Landscape that reflects the historical stratification. Province of Campobasso. Untouched nature and small picturesque medieval villages. The Sanitico Museum of the province of Campobasso was founded at the end of the 19th century, when archaeological collecting was an exclusive privilege of the more cultured families of the region, who attributed to the findings of the origins of Italianism. Since 1881, the museum has been continuously enriched with ceramic, bronze and marble objects from all parts of the region, always preserving its regional character. Like all cultural institutions, the Sanitico Museum was not exempt from plundering and stealing, until finally a strict control and cataloging policy ensured the preservation of findings, making it possible for a wider audience to discover the material which represent the synthesis of the history of Sannio and Molise, from statuettes originating from Trivento and Boiano and graveyard objects from Casalciprano and Cepino, to Roman period tombs and Lombard necropolis of Vicene, where knights killed in battle were buried together with their horses. To truly appreciate these extraordinary metal frameworks, it is necessary to illustrate their function within the procession, which takes place every year on Corpus Christi and extends in the streets and alleys of Campobasso, where a large crowd follows the people carrying these frameworks, proudly holding children and youngsters up in the air, and so reviving significant moments of biblical tradition. In the 18th century, Francesco Saverio di Zeno masterfully carved out of wood various saints from the Christian tradition and challenged the laws of statics by inventing and constructing steel supports able to withhold a large number of figures, which still remains an amazing sight for tens of thousands of spectators arriving from all over the world. At the end of the 19th century, architect Giuseppe Baroni donated to the town of Baranello his precious collection of artworks and archaeological findings collected from every part of the ancient world. In the old house, which is open to the public, you can see exhibits from every corner of the earth: Assyrian, Greek, Roman, Etruscan and Italian findings, together with Peruvian vases, medieval bronzes, Bourbon, Dutch, French, Chinese and Japanese porcelain, all enriched by a series of Renaissance and Baroque paintings, making the Civic Museum of Baranello internationally recognized. Cepino denotes enclosure. Inside the ring of walls, which during the Middle Ages was called Altilia, the stones tell the story of the Romans in Sannio. Inside the houses, built with capitals and entablatures more ancient than the museum exhibits, there is an entire display of well-arranged, appropriately illustrating findings discovered during excavation work in the past century. Gladiator reliefs, fistulae or lead pipes of aqueducts, commemorative plaques, everyday and religious objects, bronze statuettes, and reconstructions of war machines allow visitors to explore the history of one of the most fascinating archaeological sites in Italy. According to folk tradition, the peasants from Ielsi who survived the earthquake on St. Anne's Day in 1805, and as a token of gratitude to the Virgin Mary's mother, they introduced tralliae in the procession. These were large carts pulled by oxen to transport the wheat from the field. In time, the procession became a popular competition in decorating the most beautiful and most festive carts. As the carts gradually obtained their artistic form and characteristic appearance, the museum collected the most significant ones, explaining all the techniques of interlacing ears of wheat and construction of equipment. We conclude our short trip by visiting one of the rooms which will soon be part of the Museum of Contemporary Art of the city of Termoli and an artistic heritage of exceptional value. Colors, techniques, structures and forms tell us the story of 57 years of contemporary art, with the most renowned national and international artists. Istria County. Rich multicultural region shaped by the sea and seafaring. Istria is the largest peninsula in the Adriatic Sea, an area where the Mediterranean Sea has deeply cut into the continent of Europe. Due to its geographical position, Istria presents a rich multicultural region essentially shaped by the sea and seafaring. For over a century, archaeologists, historians, ethnologists and sea lovers have been discovering and revealing new evidence about the heritage of Istria. So let's take a walk through Istria, visit its museums and museum events, or better yet, let's immerse into the historically rich Istrian part of the Mediterranean. As part of the Adriatic Museum partnership, the following museums of Istria County definitely stand out: the Archaeological Museum, the Historical and Naval Museum of Istria, Museo Storico e Navale dell'Istria, and the Ethnographic Museum. Shipwrecks, amphorae, anchors, little ports, remains of magnificent Roman villas, nautical charts, letters, postcards, flags, uniforms of sailors and officers. These are just some of the material traces testifying about the millennia-long history of Istrian people and their connection with the sea. During summer months, nearly all Istrian museums, especially their atriums, become attractive stages and venues for concert, theatre and film events. We talk about unique live museums such as the International Festival of Antiquity from Umag, Ancient Sepamaya, Medieval Festival Giostra from Porridge, Robin's House of Batana, Casa della Batana, the first Eco Museum on the Mediterranean dedicated to a fishing boat, or the Museum Gallery's Sacred Hearts, with excellent jazz concerts, multimedia exhibitions and installations, including Novigrad's Lapidary Museum, which steps out into the town streets, squares and parks by organizing Arteria, Festival of Visual Arts. So, whichever map of Istria we may study, geographical, historical, archaeological, ethnographical, cultural, tourist, gastronomical, enological, each one reflects the rich civilizational and historical heritage and provides a lot of evidence proving that the sea does not separate but connects people and their cultures. Zenica Doboj Canton. The Valley of Fortresses. The Bosnian and Herzegovinian region of the Zenica Doboj Canton consists of 12 municipalities. Over one-third of its 400,000 inhabitants are citizens of Zenica. A greater part of the canton stretches along the Bosna River. The geographical structure and unique historical heritage have resulted in an abundance of attractive tourist resources. This area is rightfully called the Valley of Fortresses, since there are as many as 6 medieval sites, fortresses and old towns. These cultural, historical monuments tell visitors the story of this region's eventful past, of the old Bosnian state and its rulers. This is where fights for survival of the people took place, proving at the same time the existence of various cultures, civilizations, religions and people in this area. Visitors to the Zenica Doboj Canton can experience, both in local museums and at their every step, the spirit of centuries-old tradition preserved in authentic folk costumes, unique building style, variety of gastronomy, small craftsman workshops producing souvenirs, the atmosphere of old Charshia. The Museum of the City of Zenica has a 5-decade-long tradition, housed in a new representative museum building since 2007. The museum has an archaeological, historical and ethnological collection. It organizes a number of workshops, promotes a multimedia center and carries out educational and promotional programs from the field of science and arts. An exceptional historical treasure of this area is the old town of Vranduk, where the historical display depicts the medieval period in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Over the centuries, the fortress has preserved its original form reminiscent of the early examples of European fortresses. Inside its walls, numerous archaeological finds from the Middle Ages and the Ottoman period have been discovered: vessels, jewelry, coins. During its 50 years, the Regional Museum of Visoko has strived to present museum artifacts collected from the greater Visoko area and other municipalities through thematically diverse collections. Especially interesting and valuable feature is the archive from the Ottoman and Austro-Hungarian period. The Teschen Museum is the youngest museum in the Zenica Doboj canton. Its collection is displayed in the old town of Teschen, unique historic building of Eminagić Dvor and Steček necropolis offer visitors an authentic picture of a typical Bosnian Charshia, a town visibly boasting different influences of Eastern and Western civilizations. The monastery in Kraljeва Sutjeska is abundant with cultural, historical and art artifacts. Numerous archive documents, valuable old books, collections of paintings and artistically crafted metal and textile items, while exceptionally valuable chalices are preserved in the monastery treasury. The ideal time to experience the splendor and beauty of the Zenica Doboj canton as a precious tourist destination is definitely springtime. All its visitors will be thrilled by its rich offer. National Museum of Montenegro in Cetinje. Museums and cultural historical monuments. Municipality of Shkodra. City with a rich history. Welcome to Shkodra, the beauties of nature and tourism. This city has it all. The best confronting of eras are worth seeing here in the northern metropolis of Albania. You will find the Illyrian, Roman, Venetian, Arbanon culture and the history up to the present days. The best way to visit the city is to start from the aristocratic street. It is worth to see the old Venetian style buildings fanatically protected by their owners. For those looking for adventures, sailing with fishing boats would be an ideal choice. However fascinating the buildings may be, the symbolic image of the city is a 2,500-year-old castle. It is still one of the treasures of this civilization, which dates back to the 5th or 6th centuries before Christ. Many visitors visit this historical monument. The former army headquarters of Shkodra Castle has now turned into a museum which was refurbished in the 80s. There you can see exposed livelihood and war artifacts of different historical periods. This building is more than 200 years old. It is still holding decorations of that time. This is the Ethnographic Museum, where many folk costumes of men and women are displayed, which were dressed in this area for a long period of time. Here you can also find many artifacts of the city life. The Archaeological Museum is located in the ground floor of this building. There you can find many objects of historical importance, which best prove the antiquity of this town. This gravestone belongs to the 2nd century AD and is still one of the most significant objects in this museum. At its center lies Medusa, the goddess of the grave protection and a very powerful symbol of that time. You will be astonished by the power of Marubi photography in Shkodra. Pieter Marubi was born in 1831 and died in 1904. His entire dynasty of 3 generations left a photo archive with about 150,000 negatives. In 1970, Gag Marubi donated them to the archive. The collection of negatives comprises themes from ethnography, urban planning, culture monuments, or from history. If you want to enjoy the culture, exotics, antiquity and the modern, all at the same place, come to Shkodra. This is just the beginning.